Love is not about convenience, it's about commitment. Too many people think love is supposed to be easy, that if it's right, it should flow effortlessly, without struggle, without pain, without resistance. They think love should be this perfect, flawless thing that never demands too much, never tests patience, never shakes the ground beneath them. And when it does, when love starts to require real effort, they panic. They start looking for the exit. That's not love. That's fantasy. That's a world built on feelings, and feelings are fleeting. They change like the wind. They rise and fall like the tide. You cannot build something real, something lasting, on the unstable foundation of emotions alone. Love is not about how someone makes you feel in the good moments. It's about who you choose to be in the hard ones. Commitment is the part people don't talk about enough. Commitment is what separates the real from the temporary. Because in every relationship, every single one, there will come a point where things get hard. Misunderstandings will happen. Differences will surface. The spark won't always burn as bright. And in those moments, you have a choice. Walk away like the world has conditioned you to do, or stand firm and do the work. See, the modern world has sold us a lie. It's told us that love should always be effortless, that the moment things get difficult, it means something is wrong. That if a relationship requires too much effort, it must not be meant to be. That there's always something or someone better out there. And so people leave at the first sign of trouble, chasing after this illusion of perfect love, only to find themselves in the same cycle again and again. Because love is not about finding someone perfect. It's about learning to love someone through their imperfections. Love is about showing up even when it's inconvenient. It's about choosing the person standing in front of you, not just when they are at their best, but when they are at their worst. It's about patience when they frustrate you, understanding when they disappoint you, grace when they fall short. It's about pushing through the arguments, the silent treatments, the moments of doubt, and still saying, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. That's what commitment looks like. It's easy to love someone when things are new, when everything is exciting, when the chemistry is strong and the flaws haven't fully surfaced. But that's not where real love is tested. Real love is tested in the mundane, in the difficult, in the days when life gets overwhelming and you don't feel that rush anymore. That is when commitment matters most. Because commitment is not about never wanting to leave. It's about choosing to stay even when part of you wants to walk away. It's about fighting for what you have instead of searching for something easier. It's about building something that can withstand time, pressure, and hardship. Love is not a convenience store. You don't just walk in, grab what feels good, and leave when it no longer serves you. Love is the foundation you build, brick by brick, moment by moment, sacrifice by sacrifice. And just like anything strong, it takes time, patience, and effort. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Love will demand more from you than you ever thought you could give. It will expose your weaknesses, challenge your pride, and force you to grow. And that's why so many people quit, because love requires something from you. It's not just about what you get, it's about what you give. You will have to give up the idea that love is just about passion. You will have to give up the belief that love should always be easy. You will have to sacrifice your ego, your selfishness, your need to always be right. Because love is about choosing over and over again. And if you're not willing to do that, if you're always looking for the exit when things get tough, then you don't want love. You want convenience. You want comfort. You want something that serves you without asking anything in return. But real love, that's for the ones who are willing to stay, to fight, to commit, even when the fire burns low. Because those are the ones who build something unshakable. Those are the ones who know that love isn't found, it's built. Life will test you. Love will test you even more. You think the hard times are a sign something is broken, but they're not. They're a sign you're alive. They're a sign that what you have is real, because anything worth having will challenge you. Anything meaningful will demand more from you than you're ready to give. Love isn't here to make life easy. It's here to make you stronger. You want something deep, something real, something that lasts. Then understand this: the hardest moments in your relationship are not the end. They are the beginning of something greater. They are the moments where you decide, will I rise or will I run? Most people run. They hit a roadblock, they face a challenge, and instead of growing through it, they retreat. They convince themselves love should be effortless, that relationships shouldn't require work, that if it's truly meant to be, everything should flow without struggle. But that's a lie. That's a fairy tale told to people who don't understand the value of struggle. Nothing strong is ever built without resistance. No great athlete gets there without pain. No empire rises without battle. No masterpiece is created without countless failures. And yet, when it comes to love, people expect greatness to come without effort. They expect deep connection without sacrifice. They expect passion without persistence. They expect to feel good all the time and never be tested. But love doesn't work that way. Most people fold under pressure. They see difficulty and they retreat. They see conflict and they run. They believe that if something isn't smooth, if it isn't effortless, then it isn't meant to be. But that's not how life works. That's not how love works. That's not how strength is built. A Stoic does not run from adversity. A Stoic does not crumble under pressure. A Stoic stands firm, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity to grow, to evolve, to become unshakable. Love will test you. That is guaranteed. It will push you beyond your limits. It will expose your weaknesses. It will show you the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. And in those moments, you will have a choice: break down or break through. Most people choose the easy road. They give up the second things don't go their way. They let emotions dictate their actions. They allow frustration, anger, or disappointment to control them. But a person of true strength does not let temporary feelings destroy something permanent. They do not let a difficult moment define the entire relationship. They step back, they breathe, they think, and they respond with wisdom. Control. That is what separates the weak from the strong. Weak people react. They explode in anger. They lash out with words they can't take back. They let their emotions take the wheel and drive them straight off a cliff. Strong people, they remain steady. They feel everything but let nothing shake them. They understand that emotions come and go, but decisions have consequences. They know that reacting in a moment of anger can destroy something that took years to build. So they do what most people don't. They pause, they assess, they act with purpose, not impulse. Most relationships fail not because of one big catastrophe, but because of 1,000 small, reckless reactions. Arguments escalate because neither person is willing to control their ego. Small frustrations turn into deep wounds because patience was never practiced. Misunderstandings grow into resentment because someone refused to listen before they spoke. People let their emotions dictate their actions, and before they know it, they've burned down something that could have been saved. A Stoic understands that emotions are not the enemy, but they are not the master either. Love is not about never feeling frustration, anger, or sadness. It's about learning to govern those feelings instead of being ruled by them. It's about choosing to stay calm when everything inside you wants to explode. It's about remembering that words spoken in a moment of heat can cause damage that love alone cannot repair. You have power, more than you think. You have power over your reactions, over your tone, over your presence in every moment of conflict. You may not be able to control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. That is your weapon. That is your strength. And that is what will determine whether your love stands the test of time or crumbles under pressure. Think about this. When the storm comes, do you want to be the person who is blown away or the one who stands firm? Do you want to be controlled by every shift in the wind, or do you want to be the rock that remains steady no matter what? A Stoic understands that life is unpredictable, that love is unpredictable, that no matter how much you prepare, challenges will come. But they also understand that true power lies in not letting those challenges dictate their course. So when the fight happens, when the misunderstanding arises, when the road gets rough, What will you do? Will you be the person who reacts without thinking, who lets their emotions lead them to regret? Or will you be the one who steps back, breathes, and responds with wisdom? Will you allow a temporary feeling to destroy something irreplaceable? Or will you take control, master yourself, and protect what truly matters? Because love is not for the weak. Love is not for the easily shaken. Love is for those who are willing to do what most won't: endure, grow, and remain unshakable in the face of adversity. You cannot control another person. Read that again. You cannot force someone to think the way you think, feel the way you feel, or love the way you love. No matter how much you try, no matter how much you want it, the only person you have power over is yourself. And the moment you truly understand this, the moment you accept it deep in your soul, is the moment you take control of your life and your relationship. Most people spend their energy trying to change others. They think if only they acted differently, if only they saw things my way, if only they loved me the way I love them. But that's not love. That's control. That's attachment to an outcome that you do not own. And when you attach yourself to something you cannot control, you set yourself up for frustration, disappointment, and heartbreak. A Stoic understands that peace does not come from controlling others. It comes from mastering oneself. It comes from realizing that the only thing within your power is your own actions, your own thoughts, your own choices. You can't force them to stay. You can't force them to understand you. You can't force them to be who you want them to be. But you can choose how you respond. You can choose how you love. You can choose the energy you bring into every interaction. People make the mistake of believing that love is about possession, about molding someone into the perfect partner, about making them fit into a version of the relationship they imagined in their head. And when that person doesn't meet their expectations, they lash out, they blame, they manipulate, they push. And in doing so, they destroy the very thing they were trying to hold on to. Because love is not about control. Love is about freedom. It's about accepting a person for who they are, not who you wish they would be. Think about it. The people we love the most are often the ones we try to change the most. We want them to do better, to be better, to act the way we think they should act. But love is not about bending someone to your will. Love is about standing beside them, not above them. It's about guiding, not forcing. It's about influencing through your own actions, not demanding through your words. So ask yourself, are you loving with an open hand, or are you squeezing so tightly that you're suffocating what you claim to care about? Because the tighter you grip, the more you push them away. Love cannot grow in an environment of control. It cannot flourish under constant pressure to meet unrealistic expectations. Love thrives in acceptance. It deepens in understanding. It strengthens when both people are free to be themselves. But let's be clear. This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. This doesn't mean you stay in a situation that drains you, hoping that one day they'll magically change. It means you recognize the difference between guiding and controlling. It means you lead by example, not by force. It means you focus on being the best version of yourself instead of exhausting yourself trying to mold someone else. Because the truth is, people do not change because you tell them to. They change because they see something in you that inspires them to grow. They change when they are ready, not when you demand it. And if you spend your life waiting for someone to become the version of themselves that you created in your mind, you will live in a constant state of disappointment. So take a step back. Ask yourself, am I trying to control, or am I trying to love? Am I trying to shape them, or am I trying to support them? Am I trying to force an outcome, or am I willing to accept what is? Because once you let go of the illusion of control, once you shift your energy toward mastering yourself instead of fixing someone else, you will find peace, you will find strength, and most importantly, you will find love that is real, not built on pressure, not weighed down by expectation, but free, honest, and unshakable. Pride will ruin everything. Let that sink in. It will make you walk away from something real. It will make you destroy a love that was meant to last. It will have you sitting alone, full of regret, knowing deep down that it wasn't love that failed, it was you, your ego, your inability to humble yourself, to listen, to admit when you were wrong. Pride will have you thinking you won, but what did you actually win? Silence? Emptiness? A broken connection that could have been saved? That's not victory. That's self-sabotage. Too many people let their egos dictate their relationships. They refuse to say, I was wrong. They refuse to say, I'm sorry. They refuse to say, let's talk about this, because their pride tells them that admitting fault is weakness. But what they don't realize is that pride is the real weakness. Pride is what makes you fight battles that don't need to be fought. Pride is what makes you push away the person who only wanted to love you. Pride is what convinces you that being right is more important than being together. And for what? To prove a point? To feed your own sense of superiority? That's not strength. That's fear disguised as strength. Love cannot survive in a war zone. And when pride is in control, that's exactly what a relationship becomes, a battlefield, where both people are fighting to win instead of fighting to understand. You hold on to grudges. You keep score. You wait for the other person to fold first because you refuse to be the one to lose. But love is not a game. There is no winner and loser. Either you both win or you both lose. Think about this. How many times have you let an argument drag on, not because you didn't care, but because you were waiting for them to admit defeat first? How many nights have you spent in silence, angry, resentful, all because you refused to be the one to break it? How many moments have you lost? How much time have you wasted, all because you were too proud to say, I love you, let's fix this? Pride is selfish. It makes you forget what actually matters. It makes you treat the person you love like an enemy instead of a partner. It makes you value your own validation more than the health of your relationship, and it will cost you everything. Because eventually, they'll stop trying. Eventually, they'll get tired of the fights, the coldness, the endless need to prove yourself right. Eventually, they'll realize that love shouldn't feel like this. That love is supposed to be a place of peace, not a competition. And when that day comes, you'll wish you had swallowed your pride sooner. But let's be clear. Humility does not mean allowing yourself to be disrespected. It does not mean tolerating mistreatment. It means knowing when to let go of unnecessary battles. It means choosing connection over conflict. It means understanding that the goal is not to win, it's to grow, to heal, to love each other better. A real relationship is not about keeping score. It's about keeping faith in each other, even in the hardest moments. The strongest people are not the ones who refuse to bend. The strongest people are the ones who know when to lower their guard, when to say, let's talk, let's fix this, let's move forward. That takes real strength. That takes real courage. Because love is not about proving yourself, it's about improving together. So ask yourself, is your pride worth the love you're about to lose? Is your ego worth the silence, the distance, the pain? Is being right worth being alone? Because at the end of the day, the people who let pride control them always learn the same lesson. When you let your ego lead, you may win the argument, but you will lose the person. Nothing lasts forever. Read that again. Nothing. Time moves whether you're ready or not. People change whether you want them to or not. Love, no matter how strong, is not immune to life's unpredictability, and that's exactly why you need to cherish it while it's here. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because one day you'll wake up, and the moments you took for granted will be nothing but memories. The words you didn't say will be regrets. The time you thought you had will be gone. Most people live like they have forever. They assume they'll always have another chance to apologize, to hold them a little tighter, to make things right. They assume love is just there, something that will wait patiently, something that will endure neglect, ego, and laziness. But love doesn't work that way. Love is a garden. It needs tending. It needs care. If you ignore it, if you assume it will take care of itself, one day you'll look up and realize the garden is gone. The flowers have withered. The life has faded. And the worst part, you could have saved it. How many times have you held back an I love you because you assumed they already knew? How many times have you brushed off a deep conversation because you were too tired, too distracted, too caught up in things that don't even matter? How many times have you let your phone steal moments that could have been spent looking into their eyes, laughing together, being together? And for what? Some temporary distraction? Some illusion of later that may never come? People think they'll always have time, but time is ruthless. It takes what it wants when it wants, and it doesn't ask for permission. One day, the person you love could walk away. One day, life could separate you in ways you never expected. And worst of all, one day they might not be here anymore. And if that day comes, will you be able to say you loved them fully? That you were present? That you gave them the best of you, not just what was left over after everything else? Love is not just about being there, it's about showing up every day, in the little moments, in the times when no one is watching. It's in the effort you put in even when you don't feel like it. It's in the patience you show when they need it most. It's in the kindness you choose even in the middle of a storm. Love is not about grand gestures, it's about consistency. Because at the end of the day, it won't be the big things that matter, it'll be the small things. The quiet good mornings, the way you listened when they needed to talk, the way you held them after a bad day, the way you made them feel safe, seen, valued. Too many people lose love not because it disappeared, but because they stopped paying attention. They stopped appreciating what they had. They got comfortable. They assumed the other person would always be there, no matter how much they neglected the relationship. But love is not a guarantee, it's a privilege. And if you don't treat it as one, it will slip through your fingers. So wake up, look at them, really see them, feel the weight of their presence, hear their laughter, memorize the sound of their voice, because one day those things will only exist in your memories. And if you don't cherish them now, you'll spend the rest of your life wishing you had. Stop waiting for later. Later is not promised. Later is an illusion. The only thing that's real is this moment right now. And you have a choice. You can take love for granted, assume it will always be there, gamble with time like you control it. Or you can love fully, completely, with no holding back, no reservations, no regrets. Because in the end, love is not about how long it lasted. It's about how deeply it was lived.